Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports.
All right, folks, it's the Buckeye Blitz. I'm Tito Jeff Fedoff on FanStream Sports here, powered by the DSP MediaOnline.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Got a lot to get to today. Unfortunately, not a lot of it's all this positive news, but we'll start talking about the men's and women's basketball teams. The men's basketball team has now lost 6 of its last 7 games. It lost 5 in a row, and all by, fairly close games. And then defeated Iowa 93-77 in a big win for the Buckeyes, where the offense finally looked like it was connected and playing well. Likely had a big game. I'm sorry, Isaiah Ice Likely had a big game. And also, Bryce Sensabaugh had a big game for Ohio State, the freshman sensation. So looked really good in that game. Then they go out and play on the road against Illinois and just looked completely uninspired, listless in a huge loss to Illinois. Lost by 9 because they made a shot at the buzzer, but it was a blowout for the most part in that game. And the Buckeyes never felt like they were in the game. Even when they started to make rallies when they were down at one point by like 17, I think, or 19 points, and rallied back and got into single digits. And then they couldn't get a stop on defense when they needed to. The offense was fractured, it looked like. Nobody could get anything going. There were forced shots. The offense just did not flow the right way at all. And too many forced shots on offense, and it just never got going for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Zed Key is still dealing with injuries. His shoulder is still bothering him. His knee is still bothering him. He does not look healthy out there. And Ohio State, I'm not sure why, but I was excited coming off the Iowa game to see what they would do on the road against Illinois, a team that it's not like Illinois is that much more talented than Ohio State, if at all. Ohio State actually might have more talent top to bottom on their team. It's just they're not playing with any kind of sense of urgency, with any flow on offense, and that's what's hard to watch. So today as we sit, and this is a team that I said I thought would make it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, and right now today, they're on the bubble of even making the tournament. They're sitting at 11-9 right now, tinkering on 500, and I'm not convinced they'll make the tournament. They need to rally now just to get into the tournament. They're I think 3-6 in the Big Ten, I want to say, but they're 11-9 overall. Big game coming up Saturday on the road at Indiana. Indiana is not a great team this year. They're not doing as well as they should have, much like Ohio State. They are underperforming. But always playing Indiana is going to be tough. Any Big Ten game is tough. Any Big Ten road game, very tough. Ohio State, this team is a perfect snapshot of what parity is. This team could still, because of the talent they've got, and it's not the coach. It's not like Chris Holtmann forgot how to coach. Okay, he's still a good coach. I still believe in Chris Holtmann. It's something's not right with this team. They need more leadership. Maybe it is from Justice Swing and Zed Key. They need Zed Key to be healthy, and he need to find a way to get back on track offensively and playing with, again, some kind of like desire. It looks like the Illinois game looked like they want to be there. So Saturday is a big game for Ohio State on the road against the Hoosiers. Like I said, this is a team that could win 2 games in the NCAA tournament. This is a team that also could go to the NIT and lose in the first round. That's where this team is at right now. And as hopeful I was as I was after the 93-77 win over Iowa, I was equally despondent after the very bad loss at Illinois. So Saturday is a big game for the Ohio State basketball team and Chris Holtmann on the road at Indiana. They've got to start getting some wins. It's getting late in the season right now. We're almost to February, and not a lot of opportunities left for Ohio State to get the record pumped up to where it deserves to be in the big dance. On the women's side, the Ohio State women undefeated. No more. They lost to Iowa, and they had a home game. Number 2, Ohio State at the time. Number 10, Iowa. Iowa comes with Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark was phenomenal. Triple-double, had 15 assists in the game, was making some NBA-length threes in that game. Looked really good. Ohio State, it was a sellout crowd at home. The game was on ESPN2, so big moments for the Buckeyes. And Ohio State, they seemed to fall in love with the three-pointer and shot way too many of them. Could not, again, also get into a flow offensively, it seemed like. Had a hard time inside on defense dealing with Iowa. And Ohio State, look, at some point, they were going to lose a game. I did not expect them, especially with how tough the Big Ten is, to go into the NCAA tournament undefeated. That was not going to happen. I knew they'd lose at some point. I didn't think it'd be this game at home with that crowd, that environment, and a nationally televised game. But Caitlin Clark, I'm telling you, she is an awesome, awesome player. First time I've watched a game of hers from start to finish, and I see what all the hype's about with her. She scores from everywhere on the floor. She sees the floor incredibly well, and just a really smart ball player. So right now, ESPN's bracketologist still has Ohio State as a number 1 seed, and so they still have a very good shot at holding on to that. They do have a big game at Indiana tonight, Thursday night. They still no word on J.C. Sheldon when she comes back. We know Madison Green's out for the season. No word yet on J.C. Sheldon when she will return. Hopefully, it'd be nice if she played tonight against Indiana. Don't have any word on that. But for Ohio State to be a Final Four team, which I think they can be, they've got to have J.C. Sheldon back and healthy. They miss her out there on the floor. They miss her leadership. Really could have used her against Iowa. And Buckeye team still very, very talented. I just it's a tough one against Indiana. They're going to have a hard time winning without J.C. Sheldon, but they can get the win still. All right, switching gears now. Mel Kiper, the NFL draft guru, came out with his first mock draft of the season, and he's got 3 Ohio State Buckeyes going in round 1, which is where most mock drafts have fallen, with 3 Buckeyes going in the first round. Kiper's got Stroud going number 2 overall as the first quarterback taken to the Houston Texans. He's got Paris Johnson Jr., the offensive lineman, the second offensive lineman off the board, going 11th to the Titans, and Jack Smith and Jigba as the first wide receiver off the board, going number 13 to the Jets, which kind of surprised me at that one. We'll go from the top. C.J. Stroud, yes, I do believe he's the best quarterback in the draft. I do think he should be the first quarterback taken. I've seen another mock draft where they had the Raiders jumping up to number 1, making a trade with the Bears, and taking Stroud. Would love to see Stroud either in with the Raiders or the Texans, depending on who the head coach is going to be there. But I do think Stroud deserves to be the first quarterback taken. Not sure he will be. Paris Johnson could be the first offensive lineman taken. Peter Skoronski, Northwestern's an offensive guard, whereas Johnson's a tackle. I guess it depends on what the team needs or desires, but Johnson's the most talented offensive tackle, offensive lineman in the draft, in my opinion. Number 11 to the Titans, though, I'd be fine with that. JSN 13 to the Jets. This is where it's kind of interesting. First of all, it'd be a great situation. Go to the Jets. Imagine have JSN and Garrett Wilson on the same team. How attractive that would be for a quarterback to go to that team, especially now that Nathaniel Hackett, who used to be Green Bay's offensive coordinator, went to the Broncos to be the head coach, got fired this year in the first year, and now just got hired by the Jets as the offensive coordinator. Aaron Rodgers might be on the move. Could he go to the Jets and throw to Garrett Wilson and to Jack Smith and Jigba potentially? Depends on what happens if they get a trade done, but that'd be interesting to see that happen as well. JSN, though, is going to have a really good combine in order to be the number 1 receiver off the board. I think he's the most talented receiver. I've talked to my friend DeVere Posey about this also, but DeVere always says, just don't worry about the combine. Look at the tape. Just look at my tape. Look at the tape of JSN. Look at what JSN did in 2021. Look at his game in the Rose Bowl against Utah, what he did with the 15 catches for 347 yards. Oh, my God. So look at those things. You've got tape on JSN already. This past year, yes, a lost season for JSN. Hamstring injury, lingered all year long. He caught, I think 5 passes this year was all. He didn't play at all, except for played the first game, then played a little bit later on, but not much at all before he's hurt again. He has to have a great combine to be the number 1 receiver off the board. If he does fall, someone's going to get a steal. But he needs to show up at the combine, needs to be healthy, run the drills, answer the questions the right way. But if he does all those things, I think he could very well be the number 1 receiver off the board. There's a lot of question marks about the guys after him as far as, were they scheme receivers? Is that why they're successful? Do they have enough tape? Were they good enough in multiple years to warrant being taken highly? So that's a big part of it there. So JSN's combine's got to be good. He's got to be healthy, got to be able to do the drills and show people that this hamstring thing is done and behind him. If he doesn't, if he has a setback, that's gonna push him down in the draft. I still think he's a first-round pick. I still think he's a top half first-round pick. Not sure about 13 to the Jets, but if he does well enough at the combine, I could see somebody jumping up there and taking him there. All right, that's it for today's Buckeye Blitz. Thanks so much for tuning in again. I'm Tito, Jeff Thidoff. Follow me on Twitter @ThatHappens. Lots more Buckeye stuff to talk about. Like I say, the Ohio State women play Indiana on Thursday night. The Ohio State men play at Indiana Saturday. So lots of things to talk about with those things going on. We'll see what happens with if any more draft news that comes out as far as with the Buckeyes and football, and see if any more mock drafts happen, and also more recruiting news coming up next. But follow me right here. It's been the Buckeye Blitz on FanStream Sports, powered by DSPMediaOnline.com.